All right, so I hit the wrong button. Here's a quick picture of that. Now I have to edit these two videos together. My computer's telling me that I have so many images and videos that I don't have enough room to upload anything else, which is dumb. I mean, I'm glad they're telling me that, but you know, when I tried to get some stuff off my phone last week, they said I was trying to get like 32 gigabytes off my phone onto the computer. They said my computer only had 162 gigabytes of space left, and so it would not allow me to copy anything over. So, and I take far more photos than I edit or than videos. But yeah, so did I pass her already? She seemed like somebody that I passed already, like eerily similar. So I'm still in Pedal Assist 0, so I've been doing all this on my own power, which is cool. I actually slept pretty good last night, so I have some energy today. Yeah, it rained for 24 hours. Read another article this morning that said this was the most single day rain that Denver or the Front Range or Colorado has gotten in like years. So, because it didn't like pummel. It wasn't like a Midwest or a southern storm or a tropical storm or a hurricane or anything. It was just a slow, steady rain. You know, sometimes it lightened up into a drizzle. Sometimes it came down a little harder, but it was just a steady rain. And that works. You know, the ground needed it. It needed to soak into the ground. It needed to soak these trees over here off to the right and left. Because those slow, steady rains get rid of or help reduce fire hazards. So yeah, and then yesterday only topped out around 50 degrees. So I was actually wearing I have an overcoat. Trench coat style, but still just an overcoat. I bought it at a place in Colorado Springs. I can't remember the name of it, but it's in downtown Springs. I met the owner. He's a guy who loves clothes. Like, he needed to own a clothing store because he just loves clothes. He loves dressing people up. Specifically men. It's a men's clothing store. But he is just fantastic at it. And he started a men's clothing used haberdashery. So lightly used suits and shoes and suits or jackets and high-end clothes, you know, to be resold for people who like to look nice but can't actually afford to buy new suits and stuff all the time. So I went in there a couple years ago, about 2 years ago, just to check the place out because, you know, I always, my weight fluctuates. Like if I stop working out for a couple months, my weight skyrockets. So I lose weight, I go buy a new suit, suddenly that new suit won't fit me anymore. So I go buy a new suit, and then I lose weight, and suddenly that new suit doesn't fit me anymore. But because, like, right now, I put on so much muscle, even my suits from when I was a little thinner don't fit me anymore. So I've kind of stopped buying suits for that reason. Like, I used to always like to have at least one nice suit to wear to interviews, to wear to nicer events, etc. But now it's kind of like, you know, I just don't want to spend the money on something I might wear 2 or 3 times a year, if that. just to find out that next year it's not going to fit. Especially since, I don't know why this became a fashion trend, but especially since they started tailoring them so tight. It's like they want them to be Lycra. It's like, no, this is a suit. It needs to have some room to move. I don't want to sit there and have to hold my breath all day long or suck my gut in all day long. It is a suit. But they, anytime you go to a tailor, which you should be tailoring your suits, it costs a little extra, but especially if you wear one all the time, you should invest because people can tell the difference. But yeah, the whole thing is just, sometimes it's like, what the heck? You can't win. So you get a suit to get a job. You get a job, you get fat because you're not moving, not going to the gym as much, not having an hour or two a day to ride a bicycle. Maybe you're eating out more because gyms. Actually, I'm gonna go try this. So normally I'd cross right there and take the trail, but this is Meow Wolf right in front of me. Well, the building off to the 1 o'clock. I believe on the other side of Meow Wolf is kind of a little, I'll call it a little entertainment neighborhood. There's some buildings and stuff there, but nothing really happens there unless, oh wow, unless they, there's like a football game or something. But the other day when the trail, or 2 weeks ago when the trail was closed down and they had us going around the detour, I was like, oh, well, it kind of took me that way a little bit, so let's go explore. And then let's do this obligatory marketing. Meow Wolf, you are here. Now, I've been here a couple of times. It's actually a really fun experience if you're ever in Denver. I highly recommend it. It is not cheap. It's, it's not stupid expensive, but it's not cheap. If you're here on a family reunion and you think you're bringing all your 20 cousins and stuff, they need to pay their own way. So I think it's like $40 or $50 a head a day. Now the good news is, once you're in, you're in. So, if you get in at 10 a.m., you can be there until they close. If you get there at, 4 p.m., you can be there until they close. So it behooves anybody. But you can make it through the whole place in a couple of, 2 hours. That's if you're not taking your time and enjoying it. I went the first time. After about 4 hours, I was with a friend of mine. After about 4 hours, we decided to leave. I was driving, and his drugs were wearing off, and he's like, okay, we can go now. And I'm like, and he always talked to me like that. Like it was his decision. And I'm like, dude. And at first I was like, okay, whatever, this is just how he is. But then it started getting on my nerves. Because I'd call him up or something and say, hey man, I'm going to go do this if you want to come along. He'd be like, yeah, we can go do that. And I'm like, wasn't asking permission. I was telling that this is my intent. And he's just like he didn't really respond. He just kind of looked at me like, And I'm like, what? You got to stop talking to me like I am your servant. But he did that all the time. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, not, yeah, I'll come along on that. Or yeah, that sounds fun. Let's go. You tell me time and place. It was never like cooperative. It was always, like he was trying to maintain control, like dominance. And I was like, and again, at first I was like, okay, he's got cancer. He's that friend. He's got cancer, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to give him a break because, he's dealing with some stuff. But then I was like, yeah, you need to stop. And I told him that one day. I was like, yeah. But he was high, though, so I don't know if he paid attention. Because he was always a pot smoker, like even before it was legal. But he, when he got cancer, he stopped smoking. He started doing gummies. But he would get his own plant and then process it and turn it into gummies. And he would sit there and, like, I would have one or two of them, and it felt like my body lost their bones. Like I would literally like fall down because I'd forget that I had bones to, hold my skin together. And he's like, really, off 2? I eat like 20 of these a day. And I get it. He has cancer. His excuse is he's got cancer and he's gonna, he needs it for pain relief. That's his excuse, and whatever, dude's got cancer. I'm not gonna begrudge him if he wants to be high or have pain relief or anything. Oh shit. Sorry. I was looking up at that SUV in the field. It had a sign on it that said transportation infrastructure. So I was trying to figure out why he was in an empty field as transportation infrastructure. Because it should have nothing to do with him. If they were looking for a homeless camp or something, that would be either social services or the police. Preferably not the police. But social services with police backup, because, again, I don't have any problem with homeless people, but I understand the level of mental health and drug abuse among homeless people. And, you need somebody there in case it escalates, not to escalate the starting point. All right. I'm still a few miles into the ride. Oh yeah, I am in pedal assist 1 right now. I was like, I'm starting to feel it in my legs a little bit more. Maybe I should turn up the pedal assist, but apparently I already have. And then right across from me over here, next to the highway, is that place where I saw the 50% off mattress sign. I was driving through there yesterday, and it had a 50% off mattress sign. So, and then, when it was raining and I was looking for anything to do other than just sitting at the house, being bored, I went and walked around Costco, because at least they feed you. And I totally spaced coming down here and looking at mattresses. I should have. And maybe I'll do that this afternoon if I find... I don't really have any appointments or anything today, so maybe I can find the time this afternoon to come over. Sorry, that squeaking noise is really annoying. And I'm not pedaling right now, so all that squeaking you're hearing is just from the tires going and the bike itself. Which begs the question, what's making the squeaking noise? Because obviously it's not the drivetrain. I have the front shocks locked out, so they're not going in and out, so it shouldn't be anything there. So yeah. Whew. Alright. And normally I'd try to go off onto the rocks here or up onto the little organic trail that's at the top of this little incline. But because of all the moisture, it's going to be muddy and stuff, and I don't want to deal with it. But yeah. Whew. Some homeless people across the river there camping out, which is fine. Again, I personally don't care. The United States was basically founded, well, let me rephrase that. I was going to say founded by, but it was founding by our founding fathers, who were, you know, by and large, wealthy males who didn't want to pay their taxes. Well, I mean, that's a short-sighted, oh, this person's got a fire. Two, in fact. One had burnt out. But point of fact, you know, they were fine with paying their taxes. But if anybody remembers taxation without representation, our founding fathers were fine paying their taxes. They just wanted a say in the governance of their own communities. And King George said no. So, had King George said, okay, you guys can, you know, you still fall under the crown and you still have to pay a tax to us, but you guys can make your own decisions as long as you are abiding by these rules, then the last 250 years of world history would not have played out the way that it did. I mean, heck, for all we know, slavery might still be a thing. You know, democracies across the world might not exist. Who knows? World Wars I and II might never have happened. Or maybe only one of them didn't happen. We can't know. Well, the sun came out, and I'm still wearing sleeves, which is fine. It's cool today. I mean, it's only supposed to get up to like 70 something. So it's not like it's super hot or anything. But yeah. But our founding, you know, but ever since, you know, like this country was first discovered by Europeans, or at least by Europeans in the 15th century, because if you want to believe the Vikings came to North America hundreds of years earlier, that's fine too. They're still Europeans, but they weren't the ones that like settled. They just kind of came and set up camp for a season or two and then left. But say the first settlers were by and large homeless people. They were people taken off the streets of European countries, put on boats and shipped to the United States and said, go die there. You know, Western expansion. You know, these people who expanded across the Mississippi River and who expanded, you know, across the Rocky Mountains didn't have hotels and houses they could stay at because there was nothing here. So they slept in fields and under horses and camped in the mountain hollows and valleys and stuff. You know, there was all these old towns, you know, Boston, New York, Savannah, you know, all these old towns that, you know, are part of American history had homeless people in them. People who slept on the streets, people who slept under, you know, under bridges, etc. This is nothing new in America. This is pretty much par for course. But now you have a whole portion of the population saying, I want my country Disney-fied. I want everything to look perfect and be perfect all the time. I don't want to recognize any ugliness. I don't want to recognize any failures of society. I don't want to recognize that anything is less than perfect all the time. Perfect as I define it, not perfect as you define it. So we can't have homeless people. And it's like, homelessness is as American as apple pie. It really is. And then with this Charlie Kirk murder, all the Republicans are out there saying violence isn't the answer. Well, where were you saying it? Please point out where you said that when that Democratic congresswoman was shot and killed along with her husband and her dog. You know, when were you saying that, you know, when the school was shot up? Because the school was shot the same day Charlie Kirk was, right here in Colorado, in Evergreen. So about 15 miles that way, actually. Oh no, Evergreen's a little further. I was thinking Morrison. But yeah, maybe 30 miles that way. And, you know, you almost never hear about that school at all because, you know, Republicans are all up in arms about people not caring that Charlie Kirk was shot. Well, to be fair, Charlie Kirk would not have cared about Charlie Kirk being shot. He only cares about himself being shot because he was the one that was shot. But Charlie Kirk was out there, you know, saying things publicly like, you know, death for the sake of the Second Amendment is acceptable. You know, some random deaths in order to preserve our Second Amendment rights is purely acceptable. And technically he wasn't incorrect. However, the way he said it and the message he's conveying is that I'm a shitty human being. You know, the better way to say it is freedom has risk. And if we are going to be free, we have to accept that there's going to be risk. Every generation of American has made that exception, or that acceptable. So, yeah, to believe that people weren't being shot in the 50s or the 40s or the 20s or the 1890s. I mean, hell, half the movies, I'm using air quotes here, tough guys watch, are movies about rogue cops, rogue citizens, rogue cowboys, all coming in and shooting the place up. You know, people got shot. People got famous for being serial killers. Doc Holliday, famous for being a serial killer. Billy the Kid, famous for being a serial killer. Jesse James, you know, countless other cowboys. But we don't say violence isn't the answer. We say, oh man, that was so cool. Whew. Sorry, this squeaking's really annoying the crap out of me. Because I'm not pedaling right now and it slowed down a lot. Like, there's me pedaling. I might have to reach out to the manufacturer and be like, why does it squeak so much? But, yeah. But violence, you know, people keep saying politicians were coming out of the woodwork. I even watched Jimmy Kimmel's new episode last night, his first day back after being banned. And it was a joke. He spent so much time, instead of saying, you know, I have a contract, instead of saying, you know, free speech is a right, not a privilege, instead of calling out the Trump administration for doing what they did, he's like, oh yeah, he goes, you know, we all need to be nicer when we say things about people. You know, there's no reason to get all up in arms. There's no reason to take away people's rights because, you know, you disagree with them. He was trying to be very placating. And I don't know if he was trying to placate Disney's lawyers and, you know, executives, or if he was trying to placate, you know, the state, the affiliate owners and, and the FCC or who. But it's just like, no, dude. You know, you, instead of standing up, you're kind of passive aggressively standing up. And that just annoys me. Like, I'll say it here, I'll say it again tomorrow, I'll say it again next year. Fuck Charlie Kirk. He was a piece of shit. He was a piece of shit human being. He was a racist. He was a misogynist. He hated everybody who was not a clean-cut white male. That's what it is. That's all it was. The whole white nationalist mentality of white people are better, so everybody else needs to be put in the back seat. You know, because he has a quote out there about, would you knowingly fly on an airplane knowing that your pilot was black? And it's like, yeah, the color of your skin does not affect your ability to drive or fly or whatever. You know, assuming the pilot went through pilot school, yeah, they're qualified to drive or fly. You know, same thing. Would you trust a pilot who's a woman? You know, can you trust a cop who's black because they might sympathize with the guy that robbed you or whatever, implying that, you know, black people are all criminals and sorry, I was swallowing because my throat's dry. Implying that all black people are criminals and those that aren't criminals sympathize with them. And that's the kind of rhetoric that he spewed. Again, piece of shit. If he had said any of that stuff about a white person, you know, the Republicans would all be up in arms. But they weren't. He was saying it about black people and brown people and women, and the Republicans are all like, oh yeah, good show, good show. You know, this is a guy who speaks like it is. And it's like, no. This is a guy who tells racist pieces of shit that it's okay, even acceptable, to be a racist piece of shit, and you should be a racist piece of shit in public and force it down people's throats so black and brown people go back to their neighborhoods and they don't invade white people territory, is basically what his whole shtick was. So yeah, I don't feel sorry that he's dead. I don't feel for his wife because he's dead. She married the piece of shit, and from what I've seen since he's dead, she's no better than he is. So, trail closed, okay. It does not say where the detour is. I'm guessing... Well, this sign looks like it was supposed to say this way. So we'll go this way a little bit, see what happens. I'm at 8.5 miles, so, you know, 10 miles is 10 miles, no matter which way we go. So we'll go this way real quick and see what happens. But I think this area over here is where they wanted, the person I was driving with yesterday, excuse me. The person I was driving with yesterday said that she thinks this area, somewhere over here is where they want to move the football stadium to. I don't know how true or accurate that is. I just know it was supposed to be like 1.5 miles south of the current location, off to the west-hand side of I-25 here. So it could be this area. They could be literally talking about coming through here and knocking down a lot of these buildings to put in reclaimed wood, huh? To put in football stadium and restaurants and hotels and make it a whole nightlife visit Denver area. So, and I say that because the person I was with yesterday also said that she thought that was one of the goals, was to build a new stadium and build what they call the sports mile, where you know, from downtown Denver to wherever the new stadium is, was going to be filled with, you know, walkable streets and sidewalks with, what do you call it? Restaurants and apartment complexes, like, you know, the kind where people live on the first floor, or people live on the second through 10th floors or whatever, but they, you know, businesses are on the first floor, restaurants and bars and stuff. So yeah. Huh. I had no idea these houses were over here. So. Whew. I think I will bump up the, oh, that's some cool artwork over there on the building. But yeah, never been over here before, ever. I think there's an area up north a little bit, on this side of the highway that I've been to in the past. I even drove through it a couple months ago, or maybe about 6 weeks ago. But I've never been like over here, as far as I know, or even within a few blocks of wherever we're at. Oops. So let's go. And then we'll get back in the bike path. Oh. And then we got a bike path on the other side. Make sure nobody's coming. Yeah, see, all this is stuff. Oh, man. Sorry, my fingers are going numb. But I got nerve damage, so that makes sense. There's a kitty crossing the street up there. Yeah, speaking of cats, I went and walked around Costco yesterday just to kind of not just sit in the house. And I had so I'm just looking around, checking stuff out, since I've never been over here. But yeah, I was walking around and they had this postal guys in the bike path, and cars are coming, so I can't go around them. Kind of just wanted to yell, like, you know that's not a stop area, right? Like, that's not a parking spot. That's a bike path. But I knew it wouldn't have mattered. Government employees are content in their employment to where they don't actually have to be good stewards of their responsibilities. So, where are we at? There's no street signs here. Okay, Louisiana. As you see, the bike trail ended. So we'll go down here to this dead end, or this T, and I'll use that as a turnaround point. Because I don't really see anything down here I need to pay attention to. Like there's McBrand's corporate offices, whatever McBrand's is. Mountain Star, whatever that is. Printers. Permagraphics, the engraving place. But I'm assuming maybe like newspapers or something used to be printed here. Publication printers, or maybe they print magazines or something here. I don't know. So, quality web printing. Well, if it's quality web printing, then why do you need tractor trailer trucks? Because if it's web printing, then just, you know, you just hit export to the web. I'm kind of curious, so we're going to go a little further. I think this is a park that I have been to, but it's been a few years. I think I came over here to find like one of those summer concert series things. And I think that park across the street over there is the one where I rode around that I was like, I've never seen this park before. But this one straight ahead, you can see the grass and stuff going up. I think that, yeah, Ruby Hill Park or something like that. Is that it? Yeah, we'll go right around the park real quick. And I believe that's what it is. I am going to have to bump up the pedal assist though, because I'm still in 1. So, yeah. So, pedal assist 2. Because I'm going up. And it is hurting my thighs. So, we're just going to go over here. And we're going to go across the street here before I get run over. And we'll go check it out. So I believe that's what this park is. Is that Ruby Hill or whatever it's called. Yeah. Because there's a golf course over there. Huh. Motor's doing more than well enough. Yeah. So we'll go up. Oh, hey puppies. What's up? Hi puppies. Yeah, so I can see the little amphitheater where they did the concerts and stuff. Like I said, it's been a minute since I've been here. I'm trying to remember. It was like 2018 or 2019 I came here and just to explore it. I happened to be in the area and I had some time to kill. So I came over here and walked around. That's what I mean. Like it's been a few minutes since I've been here. And there was a lot of uphill here. Whew. This is what I mean. Like coming down here, I won't have to use, pedal assist at all. It'd be really cool if there was a recharge function in this motor where, if you're going down the side of a hill or going down an incline or something. Oh, still blocked off. Okay, so I think I'd have to go all the way around, but there's that amphitheater. There's actually 2 here. There's one off to the right-hand side and one straight ahead. I don't know which one they do the concerts at because I've never been to a concert here. Whew. But then this coming weekend here in Colorado, it's the Tattoo Festival. I tried to get my friend, the one with the cancer, to go last year because he's got tattoos, I have tattoos. But he's like, nah, I don't want to go. And I don't think it's that he didn't want to go. I think it's he didn't want to be judged by his tattoos. Because he's got some that are, it looks like your best friend got my first tattoo kit and went to town on him. Oh, so here's like a mountain bike park. That's kind of cool. Is this also off limits? Like, what the hell? Like, this whole park is shut down. But yeah, look at that. I didn't even know that was here. So I remember going to a playground around here. Yeah, Ruby Hill Bike Park. So I do remember but that's kind of cool, man. I'd love to come over here one day. Maybe I'll swing by here on a Saturday or something. See what the kids are doing. I say kids, they're probably adults too. I do it. I used to be an avid mountain biker, but I hurt too much now. All that military stuff caught off with me. So it's one of the reasons I have to exercise so much, because like even yesterday when it was rainy and I had nothing to do, I just laid down. I didn't have anything to do. So I laid down, and a couple hours later I woke up because I was so sore. just from laying there doing nothing, that I couldn't sleep anymore. Like, laying down hurt. So, you know what? This is a great place. We're going to do it. I'm in pedal assist 2. I'm going to put it in pedal assist 4 or 5. And we're going to try and climb this hill ahead of me. See what this bike can handle. Or see if it can get up there. So, let's try it. Let's see what happens. Because this is a pretty steep hill. Oh, it's struggling. It's struggling. It's struggling. It's not going to make it. As it is, I don't even know if this was halfway up. Like I said, pretty steep. My calves are getting a workout. Holy crap. Pause for a second. There's something up there. Bag, pile of clothes, something. Let's get a picture of that. There we go. Whew. Whew. Cannot believe how out of shape I am. Great view though. Probably be better once I make it to the top. My calves are burning. So, apparently, there was a path up here somewhere. I just don't know where, because there's a playground and a pedestrian and some garbage bags. So, whew. So, that is the view from southwest looking northeast. These, I don't know if you can see them. These 4 buildings right here, it's right there. Those are at the north end of Wash Park. Let's see if we can. And that building right there, straight ahead, I believe that's where Gozer the Gozerian will return from. Let's see if we can pivot here. That line of buildings on the horizon there, on that ridge, I believe that is Colorado Boulevard-ish. Especially that tall one that's kind of right there. I know that's in Glendale. And then when we pivot southeast, all those buildings out there, that's the tech center. That's where I was yesterday looking for apartments, and even ended up looking at one between these 2 trees here. There's a tall building, taller, like way out there. It's it's hidden by the haze, but you can still see the shadow of it. Went and looked at one like 2 blocks from there. So yeah, this is all super interesting. I'm sure it's nice to come up here during one of the concerts, because there's one of the pavilions right there, and just kind of enjoy the view. Sadly, not going to get much of a sunset, because that's sunset direction, but probably get great sunrises here. I'm trying to find a place up north where I can get downtown Denver at sunrise, since I'm up there. Oh, okay. I'm still in pedal assist 5. We're gonna knock that back down to 1 or 2. Oh, I'm gonna figure out. Oh my gosh. Yeah, sorry, that hurt my legs. I'd like to go down here and just kind of enjoy myself, but Seems like the whole park is fenced off. Oops. I was not even in pedal assist mode. I was in no pedal assist mode. But yeah, got a little pavilion. Yeah, because I remember being up here because I remember this dinosaur thing, thinking how cool that was. And then here's a pavilion. The day that I was up here, I think I had my dog with me. So it might even have been earlier than 2018 because he died in 2018. Or 2019. 2019. He died in March of 2019. But I remember having him up here with me, so. And then, let's see, how easy would this be to tilt down? So, the stuff's in the way, but you can see where it says JASON on the right hand side. So that was kind of funny. And we'll straighten this back up, tighten it back down. Hopefully, yeah, there we go. Is that not tightening down? What the hell? It keeps... Why did I get loose all of a sudden? What the heck? All I did was loosen it up and now it's... And now it won't tighten back down the same way. Let's at least point you at the dragon so you can look at that while I'm doing this. Like, how did that do that so quickly and easily? All I did was loosen one thing and the whole thing came undone. I don't know what's happening here. But yeah, it's got so much movement in it now because it won't lock down. Let me take this off real quick and show you what I'm talking about. So, this is the one that's sold by Insta360. See, Insta360. All I did was add a rack or a thing here to it. But all I did was loosen this so I could tilt it down, but now it won't tighten for me. See, it just kind of keeps going over. It won't like get back to tight. Look at that, that's as tight as I can make it and it's still moving. So I don't know if it has something to do, I don't know what's going on. Because it shouldn't matter. I mean, I haven't untied it or anything, or I haven't loosened it in any way, shape, or form. The Ulanzi here is actually this thing. The Insta360 is the piece that's not tightening down. Huh. Yeah, it keeps rolling over. Like if you've ever had something that yeah, I don't get it. So I don't know how well this is going to get back, because it doesn't seem like it's loose. It just seems like this piece right here, not this piece doesn't want to clamp down. Oh, there we go. Now it wants to clamp down. What the heck? Like now it's clamped down so much I can't even move it. So I don't know what the deal is. Now it's clamping down. Now it's firm. What the heck? I haven't done anything. All I did was spin it. And now it's clamping down. Okay, I don't know what happened, but it's working now. I can at least get back and still record. So we're gonna do that. There we go. All right. So, all right, let's go. Let's hope this stays and doesn't move or fall or anything. And let's go this way because I'm feeling a little cheeky. Because I remember last time I was here seeing some kids doing exactly this. Plus you can just get like a box, put it on the grass on a dry day and slide down like you're going down some snow or something. Alright. I was going to go down that a little steeper and have a little bit more fun, but I started wondering if the grass was wet and if my tires were going to catch or if they were going to slide and I was going to end up falling or anything. I'm not against falling. I'm against being this far away from help and having a broken leg. That's what I'm against. Because, you know, I'm not really friends or anything with anybody near where I live. My other friends that I know, like, are home, they're not working or anything because they're semi-retired. They don't live anywhere near here. So, and if I called 911, you know, sure, they might take me to the hospital, but they're not going to take my bike. You know what I mean? So, I didn't want to put myself in a situation where I was at risk of losing $1,000 bike or needing a ride from somebody and not knowing if I was able to get one. So, let's go over here real quick. Yeah, because I don't think you can see it very well, but off to the left-hand side is downtown Denver. Which means if you come over here at dusk, let's see if we get a good view. Nope, stupid flag poles are in the way. Or not flag poles, energy poles are in the way. And I don't trust the brakes on this thing to go down here. But there's downtown Denver. You can see this building not very well. But this building right here, that is literally, that base of the building right there is where I crossed the Cherry Creek. On the way back, I will point out that building. So remember this point. When I say that's the building I was talking about, that's the building I was talking about. Because I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to cross the river there, but you'll still be able to see it from where I'm at. And, oh, okay, here's a way down over here. But you'll still be able to see it. Because it's like a big building and it's right there. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. I can't even downshift this thing because there's no downshift. It's down as far as it goes. Like on a different bike, a bike that was lighter, that the brakes could handle it a little bit better, or if I had the, and I might wait until the spring, because winter's going to be on us soon, and I don't know how much riding I'm going to be doing. I hope I can still get out at least, you know, a couple days a week, but it's Colorado. That's actually fairly feasible. I was actually having that conversation with somebody the other day. We were talking about winter, and he's like, oh yeah, where I'm from, you know, when winter hits, you don't worry about it anymore. And I was like, yeah, I get it. You know, one of the reasons I stay in Colorado is because when winter hits, it doesn't matter. Like, you have a couple of cold days, you have a couple of warm days, you have a couple of cold days, you have a couple of warm days, you have snow days, and then within a couple of days, typically, it's gone. Because the air is so dry here, and the sun will come out like on a day like this, and it'll get up to 50 degrees, and most of that snow will just melt. Like, the stuff in the shadows will stick around a little bit longer, but the stuff on the street and sidewalks and stuff, that all just disappears. Alright, so we're gonna cross. Actually, I was thinking, yeah, I'll do that, because this is where we cross to come into the park. I was thinking that when I left, I'd go across and go down this way until I get to wherever. And then I was like, well, no, maybe I won't. But then I was like, yeah, maybe I will. So here we are. Just, again, exploring. Denver Electrical, okay. Yeah, I went and looked at one apartment place yesterday, and it was okay. I mean, the building was fine. I used to live in that neighborhood, and I remember when that building was built about 20 years ago. So again, the building was fine. Hey, puppy, what's up? But I had never been in any of the apartments. And the guy's like, well, we don't have what you're looking for available now, so I can't show you an actual unit, but I can show you a model. And the model will give you an idea. Keep in mind, the model is smaller than the actual unit size. So we went and looked at the model, and it was okay. He had a couple of units. One of them, I really liked the model. It was a little small. I think it was like 550 or 600 square feet. And he's like, the one actually for rent will be closer to 700 square feet. But, you know, that's just a foot here and a foot there. That's not like an extra room or an extra closet or anything. We'll fast forward. And rocket seals. Wabi bicycles. Baker bicycle. Oh, okay, so a bunch of bicycles there. Or bicycle shops. So fast forward. You know, and I really like it, but I'm not liking, like, the environment. Like, it has this, like, built-in, like, they put in a bunch of trees and stuff when they built it. And again, it's been 20 years, so most of the trees are established now. And it has that built-in, lived-in neighborhood feel that I really like. But at the same price as a place I looked at last week, it offers a lot less amenities. Like, it does have a Walmart within a block. Like, you walk down, like, from here, you go down to the light ahead, you cross the street and you're in Walmart's parking lot. So you don't have to drive anywhere to go shopping, you know, if you don't want to. Now, I particularly am not a big fan of shopping at Walmart, but I will buy some things there. So, for example, I will buy canned stuff or prepackaged stuff, because if you're buying a can of chicken noodle soup from a particular manufacturer, from Walmart or Target or the local supermarket, you're getting the same thing. You're getting that same can of soup, you're getting the same ingredients, you're getting the same size. The difference is how much you spend on it. So if it costs $1 at Walmart, it's going to cost $1.56 at Target. It might cost $1.20 at the supermarket. You know, these are all issues to consider. And I'll buy stuff like that, you know, maybe a bag of chips or something at Walmart, you know, oil. You know, a quart of Castrol synthetic oil is the same no matter where you buy it, just a different price point. Now, you know, now people are going to be like, oh yeah, but this one's like this and this one's like that. And I'm not talking about comparing different features. I'm talking about the same one. You buy Campbell's chicken noodle soup, and it's Campbell's chicken noodle soup no matter where you buy it. You know, well, we're not talking, you know, chicken and rice. We're not talking chicken pot pie. We're not talking a bunch of other things. We're talking just a plain old equivalent across the board. So, yeah, never been over here either. Didn't even know their house is over here. But I guess it makes sense. But these are going to be popular houses if that stadium goes in where they want it to. I'm in Pedlestis 1. I'm going to go to Pedlestis 2 because I did want to go a little faster on the way back. But the squeaking's kind of annoying. Chain Reaction Brewing Company. Which is interesting because I read an article the other day that said, I read a lot, sorry. If you haven't picked that out yet. Another bike shop, okay. I wonder if that's the bike shop the dude was telling me about. There's a non-profit bike shop that's over in this general vicinity somewhere. And when I say general vicinity, I mean west of I-25 and south of downtown. But I'm not 100% sure where it is. But apparently they donated bicycles to the residents in the building that I'm living in. And a couple of people who think they're special didn't get the brand new state-of-the-art $4,000 bicycles that they wanted to get. So they started throwing a fit. And one of them was like, yeah, somebody's going to take me. I called the non-profit that gave away all the bikes, and they said, come on down and pick one out. Because that's BS that they wouldn't give that to us and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, a free bike's a free bike. Yeah, but I wanted this brand, and somebody took all that brand bikes before I could get one. Like, okay. The guy was literally looking at the gift horse and saying, I want a better horse. Give me a better horse. And I'm like, that's kind of a dick move, man. Like, you don't have a bike at all. You don't have a car. You don't have a motorcycle. You don't have anything. Because, again, low-income housing. Kubat. Like Kubat? No, that's Kubato, the tractor company. Okay. Big John's Auto. Cabinetry showroom, dressed up in Broncos colors. Not a whole lot more Denver than that. I think it's ridiculous, but that's me. Yeah, some houses and stuff, some businesses, things going on. Yeah. I wonder how quiet it is here in the evenings. I mean, there's train tracks, obviously, so it can't be terribly quiet. But I don't think the trains are allowed to come in after a certain time of night. So, food service warehouse. Okay, open to public. I mean, it makes sense that Shamrock has a food service warehouse. I just never knew about it. Never thought about it. Denver Metal Supply. I can't even tell if that's open. I mean, there's people out there, but I can't tell if I guess the lights are on that one side. So I'm trying to figure out like how many of these buildings are run down or whatever. Like that, is that an apartment complex? That almost looks like an apartment complex. Like an old ramshackle, it barely works apartment complex, but an apartment complex nonetheless. Oh, I know where I'm at. This is where we cross. Okay. Alright. So that was easy. Yeah, we can do that again. And that's why we explored. Oops. Yeah, I was talking about it. I told you I was with somebody yesterday and we were talking about, she was talking about drivability and stuff, about where to live and whatnot, and I was like, yeah, I'm actually looking for, I like to get out on the bicycle and explore. It's one of my favorite things. We were talking about GPSs. And she was like, yeah, I'm just following the GPS from my phone on the car's computer. She was looking at apartments with me, and I was like, oh. And she's like, I wonder why it's routing me this way. I wonder why it's telling me to do this. I wonder why it's telling. And I was like, I don't know. I don't use GPS. And she goes, you don't use it? How do you get where you're going? And I was like, well, if I know I'm going south and east, I go south and east until I get into the general vicinity, and then I might open up the map and look at it. But I tried to explain to her, getting lost is half the fun. I mean, sure, it can be frustrating sometimes, especially if you're in a hurry and you're trying to, get somewhere on time. But, there's so many things you wouldn't know or see if you didn't, get lost. And I just, I think I mentioned it before. That's something I picked up in the military. Not that the military got lost all the time, but I used to be an avid cyclist, and I would get out off duty, jump on my bicycle, and go, especially when I got to Germany, and go explore. And I found so many fun little places, cafes and shops and bars and, places where, girls hung out and stuff like that by just getting out there and riding a bike instead of just telling a taxi driver or telling somebody in the barracks, go to this address. And, I explored castles that nobody else in the barracks even knew existed because I rode my bike through the woods and came out at an old castle. That kind of thing. And I just had a blast. So yeah, I still like it. I still like getting out and exploring on the bike. Now, some places are better than others. Like, would I want to explore rural Kansas on a bike? Absolutely not. A motorcycle maybe, but not a bicycle. Oops. But yeah. But like a city or even, some suburbs, like this place I'm probably going to apply to get in that apartment. Because again, it had so many more features than any other place that we looked at. And it was the same price, if not cheaper, than some of the places we looked at. So I was really surprised that, I didn't want to live on that side of town. I really didn't, but I'm kind of like, it might be worth it. 10 years ago, it would have been considered an up-and-coming area. A lot of new, what do you call it? What's that term? Gentrification? Not that, it was a brown neighborhood or anything, or a black neighborhood, but that it was an old, like that industrial park that we just went through. It was more like that. But then they started converting some of the buildings into stores and restaurants and breweries, and they put in a couple of high-rise apartment complexes and built some townhomes and kind of just built that area up, and people moved in and gave it life. So, and I remember going to a bar over there about 10 years ago. It wasn't my favorite kind of place, but I'm not into, I don't like American beer that much. There are a few that are actually really good, and I will have them if they're available, but more often than not, I'm just extremely disappointed. But that's me after living in Germany, and that's also living in Colorado, where pale ales or IPAs were the hipster drink of choice for a long time. So that's all anybody was serving or making. I mean, you could get Coors and Bud and Miller and all that other stuff, or you can get an IPA. Or you can get something that just recreated a Coors or a Miller or a Budweiser and an IPA. So there were very few companies actually, or very few breweries actually out there trying something new. They were just following the trends. And it was incredibly annoying because I don't like any of those drinks. So, but it was a brewery. Some friends were going there, and I went and met them for a couple of drinks, and I haven't been back because I just don't enjoy that kind of outing. Plus, I really don't drink that much. So, yeah. I mean, I'm more likely to have a bourbon or a whiskey or something now and again than go somewhere and down a bunch of crappy beer. I even have a friend, and I'll use the term loosely because we used to be really close. Hung out all the time, went camping together, you know, blah, blah, blah. But then, you know, I stopped getting on Facebook, and that's where him and his wife would post all of their stuff and try to organize things. And, you know, after a couple of missed events, I was like, why don't you guys call or text or something, or use my email, for crying out loud. They're like, well, everybody else uses Facebook, so we'll just use that. And then it turns into, well, you know, Jason never responds, so stop inviting him. That's what I mean, like, Facebook ruined friendships. Facebook ruined groups. Facebook ruins everything. So that's why, you know, if somebody lives and breathes on Facebook, they can go F themselves. Now, I know marketers and businesses and brands and stuff have to get on it every day. And I know I have a friend who's, I'll say she's very politically active. But she is and she isn't. Like, she likes the party, she likes the spectacle, she likes the, you know, the theatrics of it. She doesn't like the down and gritty, dirty part of it, where you actually have to, like, be tactical, and you have to call out your opponent, and you have to, or call out the other side for stupidity or whatever. She doesn't believe in that. Still burning. 2 things. I don't know what road this is. That's 6th? I don't know what road that is technically. I think it's 6th. I think the next one up here is 8th. I mean, I don't want to get the dude in trouble. There's nothing there that can burn except for him. But I also kind of want to get the dude the help he needs, just like this guy. Yeah. Like you probably saw earlier, I can't remember if I started recording yet or not, but the, what do you call it? The Denver Park Rangers were out on the trail earlier, up north a little bit. And I know sometimes they'll reach out to the homeless population, but yeah, they need to have a, especially when they're in areas like that where there's a lot of homeless people or Hoosier or something, they need to have a social worker with them. Somebody who can come out and talk to these people and get them the help that they need if they need it or want it. Because you can't force help on people. We used to do that. We called them asylums. We don't do that anymore. You can't take away somebody's freedom just because you don't like who they are. Well, used to be you couldn't do that, but now Donald Trump's in office and the Roberts Court is trying to say, yeah, no, anybody who is not a cog in the machine needs to be in jail. Like, they literally made a decision recently. Now, it wasn't an official decision. It was their shadow docket, which is a preliminary decision. But it kind of leads you in the direction that they're going. Where they said, yeah, you know, it's okay to, not stereotype, what's the word I'm looking for? Profile. It's okay to racially profile people, or for cops to racially profile people. It's like, no, it's not. It never has been. It was specifically in regards to Hispanic or Latin-looking people and ICE. But the decision is for everybody. Don't move. I'll go around. Yeah. Sorry. I don't know who they are or what they were doing, but yeah. I mean, I didn't see any logos on their shirts or jackets or anything that said like City of Denver or Parks and Rec or infrastructure or even emergency management. Because again, my master's program was in emergency management, so I kind of look at everything like, how is this dangerous and how do we make it better? Like I've talked about it before with the people who camp along the river here. You know, are they aware? Is there safety in place if there's a flash flood that comes through here and wipes away their tents or their little campsites or whatever? Are they, do we have a plan? Now, I know what the answer is going to be. The answer is going to be, oh yeah, of course we do. We send people out there. Really, who? Well, people. Okay, who? Do you send the police? Do you send paramedics? Do you send social workers? Do you send nonprofits? If you send nonprofit, like nonprofit service providers, if you send them, how are you sure that they're getting out there and making contact or doing their job? Because those are people too. And if there's a flash flood or whatever, they're putting their lives at risk as well. Are you sure they're going to go out there and put in the effort? Because I firmly believe that most people who work at nonprofits agree with the mission. Some people just want a job. Absolutely. But most people, if they go and try to save the environment, it's because they want to save the environment. If they go because they work at a nonprofit that tries to save babies from drug-addicted mothers, it's because they want to save babies from drug-addicted mothers. But there are other people that are just like, excuse me. I needed a job in accounting, so I got a job in accounting. It just happens to be at a nonprofit. Okay. I got a job in sales, or I work in sales. I got a job in sales at a nonprofit. Now, I say sales because calling and asking for donations is the exact same thing as a sales job. It is the same thing. It's what I told when I was a campaign manager for a congressional candidate. It's what I told the staff, and I said, this is just a sales, all it is a sales call. When we call and we're trying to get people to donate money, all we're doing is, it's a basic sales call. You call, you explain who you are, why you need their money, you ask. If they say no, you say, okay. And then you move on. Now, depends on what kind of conversation you're having, because people don't like phone calls. Most of us want to text these days, and most of us are tapped out. When you get on a list and you suddenly have 30 candidates asking you for your last $5, that adds up every month. Oh, what's up, puppies? Hi. But it adds up. So, because you got people who want to donate to the national candidates, the big names. Okay, so this is where we crossed earlier. We're not crossing this time because we came down on the east side, and we're going to go back on the west side here. And there's Elitch Garden straight ahead. Oops. I don't know how that happened, but that happened. I don't know when that happened, but that happened. So I apologize for that. But what was I talking about? Elitch Gardens, this side. Talking about housing and exploring, and cannot remember what I was talking about. Dang. This is what happens when you're just kind of free-flowing thoughts and ideas. You don't have an actual, you don't actually have a plan. So we're gonna go down this way. Oh, there's probably some mud. We're gonna go around. Yeah, I cannot remember where I was at on my, because I remember earlier talking about the apartment, talking about the gentrification of that area, the bars, the kind of beers I like, or don't like, as it were. Like, I'm thinking about everything. Like, where was I? So I remembered I was trying to get to a point, and I was making the foundation to lead us to that point. So while I wasn't technically on a tangent, I was in the explanation phase, and I don't remember where I was in that phase. And that's kind of bothering me. I didn't read that dude's shirt. It's my favorite something is a vacuum or has a vacuum or something, and then it goes on for some more. I have no idea what it said. But yeah, then I talked a little bit about emergency management and how I see the world. And there was a point I was trying to get to, and I do not remember what it was. I know I talked about Robert's Court. Oh, they made a decision. That's what it was. Well, I think I already made this point, but they recently made a decision, again on the shadow docket, that said ICE is allowed to racially profile people. Doesn't matter if they have any evidence of anything whatsoever. If you have brown skin, they're allowed to stop you and check for your papers, just like the Nazis did with the Jews. If you have a big nose, or I don't know what other stereotypical Jewish features there are, but if you were stereotypically a Jewish person, or they had reason to suspect you might be, they could come up and check your papers and make you wear a yellow star and blah, blah, blah. And that's where we're at. Where the Roberts Court, who is supposed to uphold the rule of law and determine if something is constitutional, has decided that Nazism is constitutional, or Nazi ideology is constitutional, which technically it is, but that doesn't mean we should be promoting it or suggesting it or advancing it or anything. So see this building off to the right hand side, the tall one, directly across from the bridge there? That is the building, when I was on the top of Ruby Hill Park, that I said, that's the building I'm talking about. So that's the building I'm talking about. But yeah, it's a shame seeing what this country, how this country has come to. And then I even saw a YouTube video by a guy who does, now he was an Army officer. He did and still does statistical analysis. He went and got his bachelor or his master's degree in, I want to say statistical analysis or some other form of data collating. Is it collating? Is that the right word? But like he went out of his way to be who he is and be an expert in his field. And he's like, yeah, he goes, here's the evidence that we see that shows that the 2024 election might have been co-opted. Excuse me. And he does it statistically. Like, here's what we expect to see. Here's what we actually see. Based on, all available data at the time. Hey, puppy. This is what we expect. And, yeah. See, there's a woman sitting out there on the rock just reading a book. She might work in one of these buildings and just out there reading a manual or reading a policy guide or something. It doesn't matter. It would have made a wonderful photograph. There's times I really wish I had my camera with me so I could take some, when I see stuff like that, I could stop and get the picture real quick. But, yeah. So, anyway. Yeah. So there's a very good chance that we're actually living, or at least there's a statistical chance that we're living under a false presidency. But it doesn't matter because he was sworn in. So it doesn't matter who wins, it matters who's sworn in. And Republicans have figured that out, the Democrats have not. So, yeah. And the Supreme Court proved in Bush v. Gore that they don't care about, whether an election is stolen, whether the votes are counted, as long as the deadlines are met. And that's how we got George W. Bush. And then we got, what's his fuckface's name? Felon Trump. And then we got Felon Trump 2.0 with more felon. So, yeah, there's the artist up there creating his piece. We chatted with him before. But yeah. Or as I said on social media the other day, because, oops, excuse me, hi puppy. Because Donald Trump's, I forget what agency he's in charge of, but he's in charge of an agency. I want to say not the FBI, but he Hunan, whatever his name is. Sorry, I looked over my shoulder, caught something out of the corner of my eye, and had to look again because I thought somebody was pulling up on me very fast, like ridiculous, like faster than a bicycle should go fast. But it just ended up I caught the back end of a sign. And because I wasn't expecting it, my mind, like minds do, tried to make sense out of it, and it turned it into somebody behind you. Which is what I think most, paranormal experiences are. Oh, there's a little homeless camp over here. Off to the side, you can't see it. There's one that's just, oh my God, my shoulder. Holy crap. Oh. My shoulder just started hurting so bad. I have shoulder issues too. But this feels like somebody's in there with a flathead screwdriver trying to pry the joint apart. Which is not my favorite day. My favorite thing about a day. It is not my favorite anything. And usually I have to go through, I'll say usually I have to go through something stressful to get that experience. But that's only recently. In the past, it would happen just anything. Making a sandwich, hurt my shoulder. Taking a bath, hurt my shoulder. Petting my dog or brushing my dog, hurt my shoulder. It used to be like that. Now, or more often these days, I have to do something stressful to it. But I'm not doing anything stressful. I'm just riding a bike, and I've ridden a bike before. So, I don't know what's happening. But yeah, I read an article the other day. It was from the New York Times. It was an opinion piece, but it just means that it's an opinion piece, not a news piece. That's all it means. And it was the article or the opinion piece was written by these three historians / political scientists who study exclusively dictatorships, fascist regimes, and autocracy? I know what word I mean. Autocratic regimes. But every single one of them said, yeah, people keep talking about our slide into fascism. They're like, we're here. Our society has all the hallmarks of fascism right now. Every single one. Now, I did see something a few months ago by another guy who wrote a couple of books on fascism, and he said that there's one important piece of fascism that hasn't been hit yet, but that's a fairly high hurdle. So, what do we mean by that? He said that it's not fascism as long as the people ushering in fascism do not believe it's fascism. He said that that is the defining moment, is when they say, we're going to be fascist. Not their actions, but their intent. Which I disagree with. So these other three people came out and they said, yeah, no, it's we're in it. Like we've been in late stage capitalism or late stage democracy for a couple of years now. And I keep wondering, like, is there any way to get us back on track? Because Joe Biden came in and he tried to be a normal president, like any other normal president would be, where he's like, yeah, we're going to do things the right way. We're going to follow the rules. We're going to follow the laws. We're going to, do what a president's supposed to do by lobbying Congress to pass, friendly bills and blah, blah, blah. Or bills that meet our agenda. We're going to do this and that. And then the people said, yeah, no, we want the reality TV star that bankrupted, dozens of businesses and had to pay a porn star for sex while his wife was at home, and, who has never done anything moral or ethical in his entire life. We're going to vote for him because we're tired of all this morality and ethics. She was wearing a very pink outfit. But yeah. And then, you got a president that's just flaunting the law everywhere he goes because the Department of Justice is not going to investigate him. And Congress is run by Republicans right now, and they're just like, hands off. Because they're afraid, Republicans are cowards and they're hypocrites, every single one of them. And I will say it loud, and I will say it tomorrow, and I will say it next year. The modern GOP are cowards and hypocrites. And I think they lost any standing they had, any hint of morality or decency when John McCain died. You might even say he was the last great Republican. Because even Liz Cheney, she did what was right. She put her neck on the line, her political career on the line, because she said, this is the United States of America, we do not welcome lawlessness or fascism. And she lost her career over it. A few other Republicans have too. And that cowed a lot of them. You got a lot of them that just lick Donald Trump's boots and tell him, they're the kind of people who have never been suckered by a used car salesman because they have somebody else buy their used cars or buy their cars for them. So, they don't know what it's like to have somebody look you in the eye and lie straight to your face about something, because while that may happen in the business world or in the political sphere, they're just not equipped for it, because they were either bad businessmen, or they inherited their golden tickets, or they have never done anything for themselves. Like somebody posted a meme the other day of Donald Trump, and it said, the man who's never had to make his own meal, who has always had meals brought to him at the table from the time he was a child until now, wants to tell you how to shop for groceries and feed your family. Which is a valid point. The dude has no inkling of an idea of what it... Oops. Sorry, dude. No inkling of an idea of what it takes to feed a family on a fixed income. Or on a middle class or lower than middle class income. Like, there's a lot of stories out there, and you can find them. Don't use Google. Google sucks. I used to be a big Google fanboy, but Google sucks now. As instead of doing the right thing, they just started chasing money because it became a game of billionaires. Oh, yeah, I made $11 billion last year. Yeah, well, my company made 12. Well, next year, my company will make 14. That kind of competition among billionaires. And they've just been chasing money, but use a different search engine. You can find them. There's Republicans out there, especially Republicans, businessmen, millionaires, billionaires, people who inherited their wealth or inherited their positions, who will sit there and go, yeah, middle class is something like $200,000 a year, right? And it's like, no. Or the average family income is something like $2,500 a year or whatever. And it's like, no, it's much lower. And they're like, no. They don't believe it because they've never had to deal with it. They've never had to go and, try to live on $1,500 a month or $2,000 a month when your rent alone is $1,500 a month. And then they're like, oh yeah, just pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Really? When was the last time you had to pull yourself up by the bootstraps? Your parents left you millions of dollars, or they left you a business, or they left you a trust, or they left you something. You've never had to work for anything because it was always handed to you. How do you understand what it's like to struggle? And then you got the idiots out there who think that might equals right. Excuse me. Your bully types who believe that might equals right, and you expand that to include economic might. Excuse me. You expand that to include economic might. So rich people, or a variation of the prosperity doctrine. And you see how you got a lot of people, a lot of would-be bullies, or a lot of people who are easy to bully, who think that just because somebody is rich, they are better. That is not a true statement at all. Not even close to true. Oh, well, they're a good businessman. No, they're not. They inherited something. There's boards of directors. There's presidents and executive vice presidents and, executors and things like that. Nobody does this on their own. Might does not equal right. Richness or wealth does not equal morality or ethics or capability. Especially since studies have shown that most of the wealthy people in the world today are wealthy either by generational wealth or inherited wealth, or they're wealthy by accident. And that is, they were in the right place at the right time and saw the opportunity and took it. But that is, the generational wealth and the inherited wealth, those are things that, you can't control or very controlled. But when you start talking about by accident, you have a lot of moving pieces that need to be met in order to, have that breakthrough. So let's say you're a genius. You have a brilliant idea. You're going to save the world. You figured out a way to make a 400 horsepower, 350 pound-feet of torque engine the size of a spare tire that can be fit into any sedan, and the way that it's designed, it can be paired with additional engines. So if you have a larger vehicle or want more power, you just connect it in tandem with other engines, and you increase that 400 and 350, by 2, 3, 4-fold. Let's say you've done that. And you're like, I'm going to make $1 gazillion because it can be put, any existing combustible engine or internal combustible engine can be taken out, and this can replace it with minor modifications. And we're going to sell them, and it's going to run off of cheap gas or no gas, or it's going to get, 400 miles to the gallon or whatever. And we're going to put all these car manufacturers out of business. It's like, great, that's a wonderful idea, proof of concept. But if you don't have the connections, if you don't have the capital, if you don't have the ability to bring it to market, you don't have anything. I was going to go right here and follow the train tracks, but I don't want to go near that camp. That was only a really small, like a couple bags and stuff yesterday, or the other day. I didn't ride yesterday because of the rain. But it's kind of all over the place right now. Excuse me. That was the girl with the tattoos all over her face. And again, I haven't talked to her. I haven't sat down with her or anything. If there were a restaurant or a deli or something nearby, I'd say, well, I don't have my wallet on me. I would have said, hey, let me go buy you a sandwich, because I would love to know why her face is tattooed. Like, is she that scared of her face, or is she, she doesn't like herself that much? Or is she doing that hoping that, other homeless people leave her alone? Like she doesn't want to be a target because she's young and pretty. And so she made herself ugly so she's not a target. Like I would love to know. It may be neither one. It may be, she's just addicted to tattoos. And she wanted to be able to see them, regardless of how she was dressed. I don't know. That's why I want to have that conversation with her. Because I would love to know. I think that dude was living in his truck. Had all the signs. So we're at 20 miles right now, so still got a couple miles to go, which is cool. But yeah, I'm actually going to stop it up here because I'm at a good stopping point. I just want to get to the top of this hill before I stop recording. Pedal, pedal, pedal. That's what I should have done yesterday. I have a dental office that's offering free teeth cleaning to veterans. I should have done that yesterday while it was raining. At least gone down there and filled out the paperwork and made an appointment. I had a massage last week, and I don't have a problem with male massage therapists. Like there's a lot of guys out there that are like, oh, no males touching me, blah, 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 blah. I'm not like that. I don't care. It's a job. It's not sexual. They're a massage therapist. That's all it is. Now, there are other, there are people out there, especially guys, that are like, I'll never let a woman or a guy touch me, or, only women can touch me, or whatever they want to say. Oops. There's a lot of traffic right here. But yeah, he was not listening to me at all. I told him where my pain points were, and he just kind of like, okay, and he started doing his own thing, and then I'm sitting there like, ow, 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 and I'm moving my body away from his hands, and he's still going in there like super hard, and I'm like, dude, you need to and I actually had to stop him. I'm like, dude, you need to stop. It's fucking hurt. I don't know how you don't understand that hurts when I'm sitting there going, ow, 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 and flinching away from you. So I have another appointment scheduled with him later this week, and if he does the same thing, I'm gonna just have to ask for a different massage therapist, because he's a nice enough guy, but I'm not gonna go and put up with pain just because he doesn't want to pay attention to my body signals. But I don't know how much of that you heard next to that truck anyway, but I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off, and I will chat with you guys later.